gentlemen, my name is Christopher Pelton, and I am your host here at THC Time. It is my great pleasure to introduce my guest today. She is the mad scientist behind the Magic of Horror Genre Film Festival, a delightful festival that celebrates the best in short horror and screenplays and posters and trailers and all of that great stuff. So please join us in welcoming Miss Lowrie Fawley to the to THC Time. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic, and thank you so much for having me here with you.
Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. So tell me a little bit about the Magic of Horror Festival. How did you get started?
Well, a very good friend of mine, Shiva Rodriguez, and I actually met her. I had auditioned for a film she was shooting, and I ended up getting cast in it, worked on the film with her. She was directing, she wrote it, and we ended up being really good friends as a result of that film. We submitted that film to festivals. We started Road Camera Films, and we created some more films that we submitted to festivals. And we had some good experiences with fests, but we kept saying to ourselves, there needs to be a festival just for horror filmmakers that is more dedicated to the filmmakers, so that when you're submitting your films to a festival, you're not just throwing your entry fee out there. Maybe you get in, maybe you don't. So we started playing around with some ideas, and that's when we came up with the Magic of Horror. And what we do is we wanted to make it more for the filmmakers. So whether or not your film gets in the festival, because it can be competitive and we can't screen every film, all of the entries get feedback. They get feedback from our judges. So at least you're getting something for your money, even if the film for some reason doesn't make the cut and get into the festival. Excellent. And then for the festival itself, after we screen the films, we try to get all of our filmmakers to stay in touch with us so that we can promote their links. If it gets on Tubi, if it gets on any streaming services, anywhere it releases, we're going to keep on promoting. And we promote alumni from our films, even from years ago. When something changes with their films, we let our audience know, because that's what it's about. It's about community.
Excellent. Excellent. How long has the festival been going on?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I think I want to say we're in our 7th or 8th year. I would have to look at our archives. We had 2020, which was really the year that wasn't. And we go back, I want to say 2018 was the first year we had a live festival.
Nice. Now, this is an event that takes place in person, right? I mean, there are screenings, there's the whole 9 yards. How has over the years of doing this, what have you learned tips and tricks wise to help, maybe like, oh, this is how we did it the first 2 years, but then all of a sudden, here's another, this makes life like, what's the experience been like?
Well, yeah, it's actually very interesting, because we had started screening at a theater called Firehouse Theater in Richmond, and we were with them for several years. The first year was okay. The second year, we built more audience. Things were looking up. Things were looking really good. And then, like I just said a second ago, 2020 happened and kaput. Right. So we did not have a live festival that year, but that's the year we started the virtual awards presentation. Nice. So that even if filmmakers now, we've kept with it even after with going back to the live fests, so that filmmakers, if they can't make it to the festival in person, they have their very own awards presentation that happens, an awards show that happens simultaneously with when we're giving out the awards live. Nice. There is a virtual awards show that happens that's on the YouTube channel. So that was one of the first things that changed. And then when we came back after the pandemic, audiences were smaller. People were not quite back to going out again, but we were like, okay, that's all right. We've got next year. It's going to keep building. We'll be fine. And then next year, the management at the theater changed. And apparently in that crossover, nobody told the new general manager that we were on there with a date or anything. Okay. So roughly 30 days before the date of the fest, which we were all assuming everything was going to plan
Sure.
because we've been told, yep, you're set, you're still fine. When the changeover happens, nothing's going to change.
Right.
Well, I reached out and said, all right, we've got everything set. Are we ready to start doing our ticket sales? Which they had always done our ticket sales.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, whoops, we thought you knew we're not doing festivals and things like that anymore.
Oh.
So, yeah. So Shiva and I I had gone down to Florida. I'm in Virginia. She's in Florida.
Mhm.
I was in Florida with her. We had just finished finalizing all the things on our end, looking at the judges' comments, looking at the scores, figuring out who was accepted, who we were screening. We were getting it all set because we don't judge ourselves. We have outside panel of judges that we use. We had just gotten everything set. I'd sent that email off. We were sitting down to like relax, have a drink, maybe go sit by a pool and just say, okay, we're done, when I got that email back. So here it is, late at night, and we're thinking, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, I happen to have a connection with the Airfield Conference Center and 4-H Center in Wakefield because I'm on their board of directors. So I quickly shot off an email to Kathy and said, is there any way we can get this festival into your space on this short notice, right around this planned date? And we made it happen. So we moved to Wakefield. And the first year in Wakefield was very small in terms of audience because there was no time to advertise that change.
Yeah, can't market a change of venue in less than 30 days. It's very tricky to do.
Other than the filmmakers who decided to come down, but the venue itself ended up being a lot better because we were able to have room, we realized, for vendors and things, which we've always wanted to do.
Sure.
So last year, we were back at Airfield again, and we added in a few vendors.
Nice.
So we had a horror art vendor who I have to share.
I was going to ask.
Buy this. This was sitting on her table, and I walked past it and said, I have got to have that. And I just dropped him on the ground, but that's okay. He'll be all right. He will not die. So I was like, I have to have that. So Love Always KB, she was there as an artist. We also had Horror Realm. They came. So I had them there. Sure. And another, not so much vendor, but more of a public service table we had in, and I'm wearing their shirt. You Are Not Repeatable, Victims and Villains, which is mental health awareness and mental health support through horror films.
Nice.
So we were able to have vendors. We had a larger audience. The filmmakers got to connect. They got to connect with the vendors, and it became a slightly bigger event last year. So we're hoping now we're moving into that, keeping it even bigger, but still keeping the focus on the filmmakers. Sure. The one thing we don't want is for it to ever become, so many quote unquote festivals, you get there and you've got celebrity guests signing, autograph signings and things like that going on at the same time. And that's not who we want to be. Sure. Because we're not there for the celebrities. And when all of a sudden your entire audience for the film that's screening goes running out the door because the celebrity has walked in and they're paying for their autograph signing and they're over there flocking the celebrity, that doesn't do anything for the indie filmmakers. Exactly. So we're never going to go in that direction. So we're small, but we're building by keeping that whole focus on it's all about our filmmakers.
Nice. Very nice. So as an actress previous, are you still working? Are you still working as an actress or are you still involved in? Okay. Excellent. What kind of, is it horror movies? Is it a variety of stuff or?
It's a little bit of everything. My passion is horror. And it is the thing that I will put 110% of my focus into. But I also work with an agent, so I'll do commercial auditions, I'll do commercial work, I'll do industrials, whatever pays the bills. But my passion is horror.
Excellent. What are some of the horror films you've done? I mean, I've seen so many.
Well, with our company, Father of Lies is one that I have done. It's a short. Family Way Coming Home. Those are 2 shorts that I've done. We also have another feature that is, it's not completely out yet, called Trail of Doom. It's screened a couple of times. So that's what I've done with our company. And then other stuff, I've been in an episode of A Haunting. The feature film One Night of Fear. That's another horror that I've done. And then I've just done a lot of little indie horrors. And then I've done industrial stuff for things like Louisa County Tourism. I've done pretty much almost every reality true crime reenactment series that
Right on.
within an hour of me. It's like I could, let's see, there's Murder Calls, there's For My Man, For My Woman, Thou Shalt Not. I've done all of those. Atlanta Homicide, things like that.
Excellent. So you're busy.
Busy-ish. I'd love to be busier, but that's the industry.
Sure, absolutely. So one thing I have to ask you about as I take a look at the IMDb page, tell me about Turtlepocalypse.
Oh my God. I can't even believe we did an IMDb for that. We were just joking. We were actually doing B-roll pickup shots for another film. And there was a turtle. It was with our company. There was a turtle that just randomly was on the set. And it was randomly walking up to a severed arm. Okay. And Ducky Rodriguez, who was also in the film with me, he and I, for some reason, started talking about it and was like, oh my God, we need to be attacked by the turtle and we need to create Turtlepocalypse.
Love it.
So we created this roughly 2-minute short where we get slowly attacked by the turtle.
Nice.
Where the turtle is coming, and I'm running away from the turtle, and I trip and go flat on the ground, and I'm looking up and I'm screaming because the turtle is coming, and you see the turtle very, very slow. Yeah. It was just a parody. It was just something that it just came up out of one of those things.
Love it.
We were taking a lunch break and it had to be shot, and we shot it in like 30 minutes.
I understand that. I was talking to a friend of mine one night, years and years ago, who suffers from terrible asthma. And we were talking about how, like, every time you see a vampire movie, the vampire's in the bar and he's like all, trim and cut together. It's like, you never see like a 300-pound, just slovenly vampire. And he's like, yeah, what about those defective monsters? And I was like, yeah, well, like, what about a werewolf who had asthma? And so we shot this little clip called The Asthmatic Wolfman. And it was like a traditional Wolfman chase through the woods setup. But when he finally gets to the end to get the girl, his asthma kicks in and he starts having this. And my friend Rob, who, like I said, lives with really bad asthma, just nailed it perfectly. But I understand sometimes silly just happens. And, I can totally relate to that. I used to do a web series called The Worst Ninja. So I totally can understand that. So over the number of years now that you've been doing the festival, what are some of your favorite film? Like what are some of the shorts that you've seen that have just kind of been like, wow, this could change horror?
Oh, wow. There have been so many. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. There was one that this year I loved, Bay for Blood. Bay for Blood is a Harry Waldman film that is getting all kinds of festival kudos right now. Nice. That was a really good one. I'm trying to, and there was one that was an Asian horror film, and it was actually not so much horror, and you can find it on our webpage, as it was horror, but it was also very intense, and it was it's called The Detachment. That's what it was. Mm-hmm. And this guy is just alone in this dystopian world where obviously something has happened outside, and he's brought somebody else in with him to rescue this person. But there's this whole backstory with family and a child and who lives, who dies. And it's,
Right.
I don't want to give too much of it away because I know that film is available. It is deep. It is emotionally powerful to the point that usually at the end of a film, audiences will applaud when you get to the end of it.
Right.
There was nothing but silence, and it was not a bad silence. It was a
Nice.
we are so profoundly moved by what we just saw. Silence.
Yes. And that is the best kind of silence.
Yeah. So that one definitely sticks with me. But there've just, it's like there's been so many. I don't want to.
Sure.
I don't know who to spotlight, but that one did stick with me.
Excellent. So from start to finish, when do you guys open submissions? When's close? Like, what's your process for finalizing the
submissions? Are currently open and they're available on Film Freeway. Our early bird deadline is the end of January. That's where there's discounted submissions. Regular deadline is the end of July.
Okay.
And then late deadline is September 15th. We notify by the 22nd of September, and then the event date is October 26th.
Excellent. All right. And those are all, hold on a second here. There we go. The magicofhorror.com is the homepage for the website. And it's kudos on the website, by the way.
Shiva's responsible for that. That is all Shiva.
lovely layout, direct, everything pops right. And, no trouble in finding what you're looking for. And I see a lot of websites for a lot of different things that are just so overly complicated. You're playing like guessing games as to where's this, where's that. So well done on the design for the site. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Hey, little dude, send your mama and daddy out of the room. I gotta get you up on this. You know who I am, Snake. Dealing in weed, coke, crack, your choice. Take one hit and you'll do anything to cop more. Steal from your mama, lie, cheat on your homeboys. But hey, that's the price you pay when you deal with dudes like me. Now, some folks will tell you that I'm dealing in poison. But hey, do I look like the kind of guy that would do that to a kid like you? Yes!
All right, folks, and we're back. All right, Lowrie, it is time to play everybody's favorite game. This is Straight Fire.
What if CAT really spelled dog?
That's right. It's time for Straight Fire, folks. 5 random questions, no wrong answers. First question and last question are always the same. Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, Lowrie, question number 1. If dogs wore pants, would they wear them on 2 legs or 4 legs?
4 legs.
4 legs. All right, excellent. What is your favorite guilty pleasure movie?
House of a Thousand Corpses.
That movie was released on my 23rd birthday. And a bunch of us went, and I didn't think I was going to get to see it in theaters because it was a limited release, but the theater right in my town was showing it. So for my 23rd birthday, we went to see Rob Zombie's first movie, and it was a ride. It's definitely a ride. What was your first film role?
My first film role was a nun in this series called Captain Schoolgirl that my friend Satu Runa put together in New York.
All right. You find yourself alone in a cabin. There's a book bound in human flesh. Do you read what's inside?
Oh, hell yes.
I love the fact that the horror folks always say that. It's like, we know how this ends.
we got it. You're there. You might as well experience it. You're going to die in this alone cabin in the woods anyway. So why not get the full thing, huh?
Let's go Deadites all the way. And the last question, Lowrie, and once you answer it, I'll explain why I asked. When you are at the grocery store, can you reach the items on the top shelf?
Absolutely not.
All right. The reason that I ask is because one of the very first interviews I ever did, somebody asked me that question, and I'm 6'4". So my entire life is spent in, helping people in the grocery store getting tall stuff. My wife is 5'1", so I do all the tall work. She does all the short work. It works out pretty well for us.
Climb the grocery store shelves, which they take they look very poorly on you for doing that, but I do it anyway.
Yeah, they're not fans. They're really,
No, they're not.
So that was straight fire. Thank you very much for that. Now I've got here, let's see. Where'd it go? There it is. All right. So you guys are on YouTube at Magic of Horror. Your Film Freeway site, filmfreeway.com, Magic of Horror is open for submissions for the festival. Early birds the end of January, and then regular submissions the end of July. Is that what you?
Yes. July 31st is the regular deadline. Final deadline is September 15th.
September 15th. So don't miss out on those dates because you don't want to get left out. You're on Facebook and Instagram at Magic of Horror, and on Blue Sky at magicofhorror.bsky.social. How are you finding Blue Sky to be?
We're loving it. I think there's a lot of things to be said about the way the whole site is organized. You're getting more of the content that you're interested in. So we're just now getting more to playing around on it, but I'm really loving being on Blue Sky.
It's a really good, I was a part of the beta for it, and I've been using it ever since. And it is, the layout is much better, much easier to direct, to contact with people back and forth. I'm enjoying it a great deal. So you've got the film festival coming up October 26th in Wakefield, Virginia, which is, let's see, I always like to see how far people are from me. I just moved actually. I'm from the East Coast originally, but I just moved to Illinois. So let's see, Wakefield, Virginia is how far away from me? Why does it always give me, that's weird. It's not telling me. Well, it can't be that far away, like 10 hours, 8 hours, I think, something like that.
I know people drive from as far as Ohio to come to the fest.
Sure. I am a big fan. I am a fan of what you guys are doing because you hit the nail on the head. It's about highlighting the creators. These are the folks that are out there doing the hustle. These are the folks that are trying to take what lives inside their head and get it out into the real world. Sometimes with, next to no money at all. And I have seen some remarkable films. I've met some remarkable filmmakers over the last year who just make these, it's sheer force of will. And, and I really, as an author and everything else that I do, I have an utmost respect for people, creators, because to be able to take the idea, birth the idea, see it from start to finish all the way through, whether it be a book or a movie or a festival or a convention or whatever your thing is, to make that happen, that's a remarkable ability, because not everybody can. They don't have the vision, or they don't have the drive, or whatever the case may be.
So we've added in a microscopic budget category as well, because we recognize that there are films that are made for pennies, and yet the content is what makes them so powerful.
Exactly. Pizza and beer sometimes will pay pay for a lot of things. So it's all great stuff. What do you have on your agenda for this year, acting wise? Anything coming up? You're working on something?
Not at the moment. I am just starting out the year with getting a couple auditions submitted and waiting to see what happens. January was a little bit slow, but January always is. So
sure.
If anybody's looking for an actor for a horror film, hit me up. I am always available.
All right. That's excellent. You and I, we should talk. All right. So Lowrie, I want to thank you for coming out and sharing your time with us, telling us about this exciting project, this festival. It looks I mean, you're covering all the bases and you're doing it the right way. And the indie filmmakers that I work with, definitely I will spread the word, because it sounds to me like you guys this isn't a cash grab for you. You're truly a fan of this genre. You believe that, these stories can be important.
And I need to also say this, since you just said that, if any of your indie filmmaker friends, if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions of things that they want to see at a festival that they don't normally see, please reach out to me. We love ideas. We love people saying, hey, we want to see this, or this would make us happy. Do that.
Sure.
We would love to hear that.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Also, let your people know, your filmmakers and everybody, I'm always here. My table is always open. So if they want to come on, I'd be more than happy to hype them, their work, help push the festival, moving forward, get behind you guys and do what we do here. Because like I said, you're doing it for the right reasons, and I can get behind that.
I will do that, and I will send some people your way.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Lowrie, thank you so much for your time today. Folks, we're going to go out a quick commercial, and we'll be right back after this. So stay tuned. Don't forget magicofhorror.com. Get all the details, because, my friends, it's going to be a banger. We'll see you real soon.
Forget, folks, when you goes to the polls today, a vote for Popeye means free ice cream for all the kiddies.
All right, men, step right over here and get your free cigars.
And what we need is bigger elephants in all our zoos. Oh, my gosh.
Now, just remember your old pal Bluto at the polls today, fellers. And there's an extra cigar for each and every vote you give me. Yes, sir.
And furthermore, I promises 2 cans of spinach for every pot. Here's me past record, folks, which speaks for itself.
You double-crosser. Steal my voters, will you? That winning vote. Guess I'll do over the White House in canary with green trim.
Get off the road, son. You're blocking traffic.
My chores.
Miss Oil, I'd like you to vote for me for president.
If you want a good-looking guy in the White House, vote for me, babe.
I can't go to the polls till I get the wood all chopped for the winter.
No sooner said than chopped, darling.
That vote is mine.
Votes for me?
Well, the field still needs plowing.
Okay, Olive. one's all done. Now to the polls.
Oh, I almost forgot. That hay must be put in the hayloft.
The chores are all finished, Dolly. Shall we goes to the polls?
Popeye, I'm casting my vote for you.
Let's go, Toots. You're voting for me.
You, I'm not voting for.
Oh, yes, you are.
Vote for you.
Get in there, babe, and vote for Popeye.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Christopher Pelton. I am your host here at THC Time, and I want to thank you for tuning in with us this week. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of stumbling across a really interesting little idea. And I pursued it a little further. I looked into it a little further, and I came up with this amazing, I found this amazing film that was in the works, and it is called The Fetus, and it stars the most recent of badass final girls, I would have to say, in Lauren Lavera from Terrifier 2, Terrifier 3, and the always delightful Bill Mosley, who I had an opportunity to meet last year, and he is just a super guy. So we're going to take a quick look here at the trailer for The Fetus, and then when we come back, we'll be speaking with the brilliant mind, the writer, director, and producer, Joe Lamb. So let's take a look at The Fetus.
You're pregnant. That can't be right. He always wears a condom.
Oh, shit.
Have you been lying to me?
Whoa, wait a second.
Do you remember when I told you that my body doesn't work the same as everyone else's? By the way, I should tell you a few things about my dad. He's a bit particular.
I was more of a cat person.
Are you gay?
Well, I think your dad and I see eye to eye.
He doesn't really like anyone.
Oh, hey! It's time.
Dad! No, Dad!
If we don't feed it, it will start sucking on her blood to survive.
You can't give birth to this thing.
Of course not! I've been freaking out since this morning.
I really thought you would grow up normal. You ain't family! You are the turd in the way.
Your mom really died giving birth to you?
All right. Looks good. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming creative mind, actor, director, writer, producer, all kinds of great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Joe Lamb to the THC Time stage. How are you today, my friend?
I'm great, Christopher. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you for coming out. I appreciate your time, sir. So let's get right into it because that is a delightful, delightful little trailer. What was the inspiration? How did the fetus come to life, so to speak?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of an interesting story because my intention was actually to do a like action thriller film. So I did a short film and we won like over 50 awards. And then I was like, okay, this is my 12th short film. You know, it resonated with audiences. It won all these awards. So it's time to make a feature.
Sure.
And so I went to like Virtual Can. I was sending it out. And like the 10th producer that was on there, Joe Barbagallo of Barb House Productions, he said, oh yeah, this is great. You know, so he saw that I was on the way to making a feature, but he said, so I can't back you for this, you know, action thriller movie. It's going to cost like $3 to $5 million. So, and he offered me a project to do a horror film, you know, send me the screenplay. And I was like, well, it's not really for me. What if I just, you know, the door was open. So I was like, what if I, you know, come up with my own idea, similar cast, similar locations, budget and all that, you know, and I just sent him a treatment. And then from there, you know, that's where things started to develop. And, you know, we started to partner together, and took me literally a year of writing the Fetus to figure out the story in 45 drafts.
Wow.
And then finally we were ready to go into pre-production and start casting from there.
Wow. 45. That is a lot of drafts, sir. What was your was there an inspiration? What kind of, I'm assuming were you a horror kid growing up? Is this what brought you into the genre originally?
Yeah, I mean, definitely in terms of like, you know, growing up, I watched a lot of horror that was like starting with like, what is it? Exorcist. Oh my God, that freaked me out so much.
Sure.
You know, but you know, there are certain horror that I really love, and then some that it's just, you know, like it's just okay to me, right? And I kind of felt, in terms of what you're asking about the inspiration, I kept seeing the same kind of tropes show up in horror. Then I'm like, well, what's new? What's exciting? What can be fresh? What is something like The Thing or The Fly or things like that, right? And like this crossover of like, a lot of times when I watch horror movies, you've got the antagonist, the villain, right? The force, and then you have the humans, right? And they're always separate, and they're clashing, or one's chasing the other, right?
Right.
Vice versa. But I'm like, what if you were to merge them together, right, and go back to those classics like The Thing, The Fly, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers? How do you deal with that, you know? And that's what I wanted to, you know, contribute to the horror genre, and in a way that I hadn't seen before in a horror film. That is, again, it's something inside of you, and especially with a pregnancy in this way.
Right, and that's what excited me when I stumbled across your page, because it wasn't like the million things I've already, and I mean, I've been watching horror for 40 years. I mean, obviously this is what I do for a living. So, you know, it was so unique, which is why I was like, oh, I got to find out what this is. You know, I got to find out more about this, which is why I reached out. Prior to this, your short films, were they horror as well? Or was there a mix of genres? Like, what were you doing leading up to the Fetus?
Oh, I directed 12 shorts, and I was a producer on 20 of them. But the ones that I directed were mostly like romantic comedy, drama.
Oh, all right. So not
action, right? So nothing horror, you know. So, but it was because of budget wise, you know, and that was the reason, and that you're able to sell it. I mean, honestly, it's not the most artistic answer, you know. But when I tried to get a teen comedy off the ground, like 10 years ago, the producers were telling me I can't sell this around the world. I can only sell in the US, you know. But if you've got a horror or a thriller or an action, then, you know, and I was like,
that's a universal, that's a universal market.
Comedy thing. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Very impressive cast. How were you involved in the casting? Did you have, I mean, as a director, I would imagine you certainly had final say in things. Let's start with Bill. I love Bill. I met Bill last year, and we had a great conversation. I was at the Silver Screen Con back in September, and just such a cool guy, such a very humble, very like, I know why I'm here, and I know why the people are here to see me. What was it like working with him? I mean, he's an icon in the industry.
Well, yeah, Bill's great. He's was my top 3 choice
Okay.
And we were able to get him.
Right.
So he was the first person cast. I knew that we needed somebody who was going to, that had a following, several years, or in his case, decades, 4 decades in the industry. And it was because if we were to cast, one of the younger roles first, they would be coming from, TV or probably, smaller independent films,
right?
With less, followers. And so that was a strategy that we put in place from the very beginning. And, like seeing some of the films that he's done in the past, I mean, yeah, I remember seeing him way back. It was like probably 30 some years ago, Night of the Living Dead. So it was just like, I recognized him from back then, and then as he progressed in his career, I was always like, this is a fascinating actor, so he was definitely top of mind from the very beginning. Even when I was writing the role, I was kind of keeping him in mind.
Awesome.
And that helps, right? You have someone to visualize when you're writing too. But,
and he's Otis. I mean,
yeah.
Love or hate the Rob Zombie movies, he was so good in that role. Like that dude was terrifying. And the worst part about it was like they're all real people. And for me, that's what made those movies work. So, and that's why I love Bill's work, is because, not that I think he would do that in real life, but you can see how he's playing an extreme version of a human being. And it's so good. Now, Lauren, that timing for her was perfect. I mean, I don't think anybody thought Terrifier 3 would be the #1 film in the country ever. I don't think Damien Leone thought that. I don't think anybody involved in the project thought that. But timing and everything worked out, and she's on her way to, I think, a hell of a career. How is her? I mean, she's still pretty young in the industry. What was working with her like?
Oh, I mean, absolute pro, because I could just turn on the camera and she would just go. And it was literally like, if we did like 5 or 7 takes, I could take any one of those takes.
Nice.
And it was like, it was a gold mine to pull from, And I always take the approach of, this is your character, you own it. I'm just here to set the stage, because I have so many other things going on as well. Because I was wearing many hats, probably like 5 or 6 different hats. On set, sometimes you have to do that for.
Absolutely.
That I was just able to rely on her in that way. And in terms of performance, emotional performance, she had to give the most out of anybody because of what she was going through. And as you can see from the trailer, she's the one that's doing the yelling and screaming. But we went through, for her, it was for casting, it was 7,500 actresses that listened, or submitted, and then some of them I asked for a self-tape audition. She was one of them, and when she came through, she was like the top. She absolutely. Nice. There was a lot of great actresses, that we were looking at, but she just stood head and shoulders above. And I would actually tell people this, Christopher, that I could literally, if I took her self-tape audition and put it into the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, you probably wouldn't even notice, because you're just getting the raw emotion from it that you wouldn't notice. It's just the plain background behind her when she did her self-tape. Like, that's how powerful and transcendent her performance is to me.
I have been impressed when watching her work. I'm really excited to see where she goes moving forward, because I think she does have a tremendous presence. And I think that she could be Jamie Lee Curtis, she could be that next evolution of the Scream Queen. And I think she's lined up to do that. I mean, the Terrifier movies have been huge for her, and this is coming out in March. And with her and Bill in it, I see success there. I see, people know who they are. People love those folks. Who else? Who rounded out the cast? What kind of veterans? More industry veterans, some newcomers?
Yeah, I think. I mean, the third person we cast was Julian Curtis, and he comes from a lot of like the TV world, and some of the like the romance films. Sure. He was always playing, like the guy that's like coming into the city or something like that, and the girl falls for it, and so and he's been in a bunch of sex scenes as well, and that helps. We do have a sex scene in the movie.
Okay.
So because I know that lately that's kind of been drying up in a lot of films, which it's kind of
People
strange.
are afraid. They're afraid.
Yeah, and we couldn't avoid it, to be honest, because how do you have a pregnancy film and you're not showing a sex scene?
Yes, exactly.
You're not showing conception, right? It's like so.
There's no way around it. Now, I love this poster. I am in the process of moving into a new studio, so all of the filmmakers that I have on, I make a request. If you send me your information or PayPal or whatever, I would be thrilled if you could send me a poster to hang in my new studio. I love it. That is a brilliant image. How long was the period from go when the final draft of the script was finally ready to go, through casting, through rehearsals, all that stuff? What kind of window were you working in?
Oh, pre-production?
Yeah.
Oh, because once we got the funding, and there were several rounds of funding that we went through, that I think pre-production was maybe like 5 or 6 months, something like that. So I felt it was short,
right?
Well,
I'm sure because you're wearing every hat that is driving these decisions in pre-production. So. If you're not talking to the director, they want to talk to the producer. If they're not talking to the producer, they want to talk to the writer. So, yeah, I could imagine what your days must have been like leading up to.
Yeah, and it's, wearing a lot of hats. Like, I had to learn to, like, start giving things up. So our other producer, Brent Trotter, he has really had to just instill in me, like, hey, Joe, you can't do everything. You don't want to do everything. Start letting go of these things to other, creative professionals who can take it on. Just trust them, let their creativity shine. And I've really taken that to heart. Even with the new social media person that we've hired, I let her design a whole bunch of things, and I'm like, great, you take it, you run with it, So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So.
It is a collaborative effort, and coming from the writing world, which isn't up until a certain point. I can understand that, it's all of those names in the end credits, all those people are important. Movies don't happen without those people. So to have a team around you that you can work with, and they understand what it is that you're looking for, and what they're capable of doing, I find has always been very beneficial. Is your crew, with your short film work, has your crew been the same through most of it? Have you found that 4 or 5 people that really kind of form the nucleus of what you want to do?
It was really our cinematographer that I brought on, because and because my contacts are mostly in LA. We were filming in Pennsylvania, so to keep the cost down, we couldn't fly so many people that I'd worked with before.
Right.
But so I could only take really, just a few people, So. Okay. My producer, one of my producers, Brent Trotter, I've worked with before, but in a different industry. And then our cinematographer, like I said, I was like, he helped us win over 50 awards with the last short film. Like, why would I not bring him on?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, having to learn, a whole new working relationship with a new cinematographer, that's going to be tough, especially on a feature you're doing over 3 weeks, right?
Yeah.
So,
nice, and it's good. I found that it is cinematographers they're key, and I don't think a lot of people understand what it is that they do, because they think that isn't that what the director does? And it's like, yes and no. The director has the vision, but it's the cinematographer who makes it come to life. And if they know what they're doing, if they're good at what they do, it's a seamless. It can be a seamless transition from what you want to see to what they're actually capturing for you. And a good one, absolutely worth their weight in gold. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back and play a game I like to call Street Fire.
When friends drink too much, even in galaxies far, far away, friends don't let friends drive drunk.
And we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Straight Fire.
What if CAT really spelled dog?
All right, Joe, this is Straight Fire. 5 random questions, no wrong answers. Silly stuff, don't think about it too long. Question number 1 and question number 5 are always the same. So here we go. If dogs wore pants, would they wear them on 2 legs or 4 legs?
4 legs.
All right. All right. See, I told you. Random questions, all silly. What is your favorite guilty pleasure movie?
Favorite guilty pleasure in a movie?
A movie itself. Like for me, it's Grease 2. I love that movie. It's awful. But
Okay, gotcha. I thought like moments in movies that happen, but okay. Favorite guilty pleasure is The Family Man.
Ooh. Ouch. All right. You are in a cabin in the woods. You find a book bound in human flesh. Do you read what's inside the book?
My curiosity is going to get the best of me. Yes. I mean,
it's curiosity that
I'll pick up some leaves or something, but yeah, I'm going to open it.
Horror folks, they tell me that. I'm like, but we know how it ends. It's never good. What's your favorite song all time? Like, what's the one song that?
Oh God. I'm drawing a blank right now. I listen to it all the time. This is so weird. My God, now I can't even get the band name. I'm sorry. This is like.
All right, no problem. It happens.
Wow. Runaway Train, Soul Asylum.
Soul Asylum. Excellent. Great song. And the last question, and once you answer, I'll explain why I asked this one. When you're at the grocery store, Joe, can you reach the items on the top shelf?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. The reason I asked, very first interview I ever did, somebody asked me that question. And I'm 6'4". So every time I go into a grocery store, I'm inevitably asked by some very nice old lady to get her something off the top shelf. So that's why I ask everybody, because for me, it's like, oh, he's a top shelf guy. Yes, but only because I'm tall, not my personality. So Joe, Fetus is coming out in March, and I am very excited to see that. Where will I be able to view that?
Well, we're talking to certain theater chains right now.
Okay.
So we're trying to log it in, finalize it. Some of them live in LA, so we were supposed to have a meeting today with one of them.
All right.
But LA is burning at the moment.
Yeah.
But regardless, we've always intended for a theatrical release. It may not be as wide as, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Sure.
But we are, that is the experience we want to give to the horror fans that really want to come out and support.
Awesome.
So that's the intention, and we're working on certain giveaways coming up as well, because I've created a whole bunch of merch, like the Fetus columns, so you can see here.
Dude.
Posters,
all right.
So we have, what you showed was 1 out of 3 posters. That's a set.
All right.
Next set. So the next one is going to be released on the 17th, because we have a film screening that's a advanced pre-screening in Las Vegas, and limited seating, obviously. Bill Mosley's going to be there doing a Q&A. And we're giving away posters. We're giving away, a bunch of these for the attendees. And then we have like Days of the Dead coming up that same weekend, the 17th to the 19th in Las Vegas. Then we've got Days of the Dead in Atlanta, 21st to the 23rd. And then we're looking at booking a lot of other horror conventions. I have never done horror conventions, so this is going to be the first one coming up, Days of the Dead. So we got our booth design. I'm bringing some of the props, some of the the special effects, makeup stuff, like a severed arm. We're gonna put it up there.
Very nice.
And so I'm pretty excited.
The I'll tell you this: the horror fans are delightful. You wouldn't think that you'd be like, oh, they're horror fans. They must be sick, weird freaks. We are, but we're delightful people. And the conventions, the horror conventions, are some of the best shows. And I've been in the industry. I've been in movies and TV. I've been in books. I've been in toys. I've been in video game industry. So I've done a lot of conventions in my life. But the horror convention, the buzz, the energy, just when you walk in the room, it's amazing because everybody there, and it's become a family thing too. Like I see so many kids, little kids dressed as Chucky, little kids dressed as Annabelle. Like it is the coolest thing because the parents and the children, they're bonding over this stuff. And I absolutely love that. So when the movie comes out, or close to around the time the movie comes out, if you'd like, come on back on, bring some of the cast, your crew, whoever you'd like. We'll do a big hubbub. We'll throw a little gathering, maybe do a giveaway or two right here on the show and celebrate it. I can't wait to see it. So, I'm very excited. I love the cast. I've been following now for a few weeks, and I'm very excited, and I'm thrilled that we were able to connect because I'm excited to hear more about it. Where can we find you online, Jim?
Well, the best place right now, you just go to our website, thefetusfilm.com, and then you'll see at the bottom all of our social media links. Our Instagram is the Fetus Film. That's the same thing with Twitter. The Fetus. Twitter is the same thing. The Fetus Film. Even TikTok, the Fetus Film. So.
All right, excellent. So we will get the word out there. We will send people out, folks. It looks like it's going to be a delightful one. You can never go wrong with Bill Moseley. He's one of the nicest guys I've had the pleasure of meeting in the industry, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Joe, I want to thank you for your time today. I appreciate you coming out and talking to us here. And like I said, my table is open when the movie comes out. If you guys want to come back on, let's celebrate. Let's get the word out there. We'll definitely stay in touch, and let's see. 2025 is going to be a great year. So I think there's going to be a lot happening, and I do not doubt that we will find ourselves in the same circles in the near future. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, folks. It's thefetusfilm.com. Be sure to check it out. The newest trailer just dropped a couple days ago. It's going to be a grabber, folks. We're going to go out on a quick commercial break, and I will see you here on THC Time next week. Have a great day.
Thank you.